Welcome to Residential Life at Binghamton University and the first of our 3 videos in the sign-up process for new and transfer students for the fall semester. Right now we'll be getting you started with new student housing, but be sure to check out our other videos for finding a roommate and choosing a room. I'd like to invite you to explore our website at reslife.binghamton.edu and especially this link for new and future students. Here you'll find a wealth of information about your different options for living at Binghamton University. Our residence halls are arranged in 5 different residential communities. These are clusters of similar buildings, and each hosts a thriving culture and spirit all its own. Each community has its own dining hall, government, collegiate professor, events, and traditions. The character of each community changes every year, so it's hard to explain exactly what each one is like, but their web pages can give you an idea. If you're a transfer student, you can also choose from 2 apartment communities which offer all the independence of off-campus living with the ease and convenience of living on. The great thing about living in an on-campus apartment is flexibility. Apartment residents are not required to have a meal plan, but you can add one and eat in any campus dining location if you prefer to focus on your classes and not your cooking. Be sure to explore our website and become as familiar as possible with our communities and all of our different living options before it's your turn to sign up. The housing sign-up process is open to new and transfer students who have been accepted to the university and have paid their enrollment deposit. It can take 24 to 48 hours for us to process payments, and sometimes a bit longer if you pay by check. Paying your deposit also creates your Binghamton University computer and email account. Be sure to head over to password.binghamton.edu to activate those accounts. You'll need your user ID and password to log into the housing portal. Our homepage, reslife.binghamton.edu, is where you'll embark on the sign-up process. When the housing portal is open, look for a link on the homepage and sign in with your Binghamton University user ID and password. You'll often find news here about current or upcoming housing processes. To get started, click on the housing application link, choose the application for the year you're attending, and click Apply. We begin with an overview of the steps in the process. You can see them listed here at the top of the page. The current step is highlighted, and you can click back into any previous step except for the dark blue ones. You can't jump ahead. First up is the housing license. This is effectively your lease agreement with the university. It contains the rules and conditions of your stay on campus. Be sure to give it a read because there's lots of important stuff here. The most important thing to note is that the term of the housing license is for the entire academic year. Accept the agreement by entering your Binghamton University ID number. We call it your B number. And then click Save and Continue to move on to personal information. We've already pulled in your demographic information, but we need you to complete both sets of emergency contact details. Note that the use of the secondary emergency contact is a little different. These help the university get in touch with someone important to you in the event of an emergency. Down here at the bottom, we also require you to indicate whether you've been convicted of a felony. Next, click Save and Continue. Break housing is provided in the 3 residence halls on campus that remain open during recess periods when the other halls close. If you're an international student, an athlete from out of state, foster youth, or a Binghamton Advantage Program student and need to stay on campus during recesses, this should be of particular interest to you. The room rate is higher for these rooms, but if your home is far away, it's probably a less expensive option than airfare or a hotel stay. The Hillside and Susquehanna apartment communities for transfer students always remain open during breaks. Choosing break housing as an option will take you to an additional agreement, but for now, we'll say no and save and continue. Gender-inclusive housing welcomes students of all gender identities. This is a great option if you want to live in the same room with another person regardless of either of your gender identities. If you choose this option, you will only see other gender-inclusive roommates in roommate search and gender-inclusive spaces during room selection. You'll also be taken to a separate agreement for gender-inclusive housing. Today, we're going to say no and save and continue. Next up is living options. Choosing one of these options will open up additional room experiences that you'll be able to choose from during room selection. Let's have a quick look, but be sure to read these in detail. Chemical-free housing is a lifestyle provided for students who refrain from using alcohol, other drugs, and smoking materials both on and off campus. Quiet living is a housing option where a quiet atmosphere prevails 24 hours a day. As with break housing, making one of these requests will take you to a secondary agreement, but for our demonstration, we'll just choose no and click Save and Continue. For the full Binghamton experience, try a learning community where living and learning come together right in your residence hall. Each learning community offers different opportunities with different requirements, but all will connect you with faculty, staff, and students in your residential community with similar interests. It's a great way to kick off your Binghamton education. We have a wealth of options here, and many require an application process that's separate from our housing application. If you choose to apply for a learning community, be sure to review the directions for that option carefully in case there are other items that you need to submit. If you choose an interest here at the bottom of the page, a collegiate professor may also reach out to you with more information, so watch your Binghamton email. We're going to leave it blank for now and click Save and Continue. That takes us into the next part of the portal where it's all about you and your prospective roommate. Be sure to check out our next video, Finding a Roommate, to see how all of this comes together. Thanks for joining us.